talk about the makeup of a hardwood wall cabinet. So wall cabinets and all cabinets, unless they're custom cabinets, all come in 3-inch increments, meaning that the number that they are is divisible by 3 evenly. So this is a 36-inch long cabinet. Now it's important to note that you measure that from the outside stile here and the outside stile here, okay? So that's a 36-inch cabinet. Typical wall cabinets are 30 inches tall, which this is. So we're at 30 in typical wall cabinets. The cabinet itself is right around 12 inches deep from the face frame. So that's this frame right here to the back. That does not include the door thickness. Okay, so technically you would think of this being right around 12 3/4 to almost 13 inches deep, and that includes with the bumpers that are on the door to protect it as it shuts. Okay, so these stiles out here, this is what you would butt into the next cabinet that you're mounting to. And you would screw inside here through the stile into the next cabinet, and also be screwing into the back wall. The reason that you have these here is to be able to allow a gap from where these cabinets are butting to each other, so that you get this nice and tight right up here. So you're not getting anything from back here that's pushing on this stile. So you get a nice tight fit from cabinet to cabinet. The construction of the cabinets, like for this one, this is a painted white. And no, this is not like paint that you would get, you know, just regular at the store that you would paint your wall with. It's a little bit harder. It's a paint that usually has a catalyst mixed with it and a hardener, so that way it's a tougher and it can take a little bit more of a beating. This door right here is called a shaker style, okay, by that picture frame look that it has, and then it has a beaded inset right here, okay? So a lot of shaker styles are just gonna be the frame coming down. This frame can be thicker, it can be thinner, but that's still the basic style. This is a 3/4 thick door with an inlaid panel on it. So there are 4 separate pieces that are put together around a solid panel right here. As you open it up, the inside is always going to be unfinished from the outside. The outside is going to be painted or whatnot. The inside is usually a maple, and it's just got like a satin finish on it, like a clear coat to protect the wood. All right. And inside we have, this one happens to have holes drilled out, and these are at different millimeters, and then you have shelf pins that go in. So these shelf pins go in, and then you have, this one happens to have a 3/4 inch shelf that will rest in here, so you put it at an angle and put it in. If you have a thinner shelf than 3/4 of an inch, you're going to want to pin in the center, because what's going to happen is those shelves are going to want to bow, or you're going to have to make sure that you have something to kind of beef up the front that's a rigid piece that can keep this shelf from bowing over time. When you go to mount this cabinet, you don't screw it just anywhere through the back here. You're either going to screw it on the top or on the bottom, preferably on both, to mount it into the wall. Some people like to screw up here, okay? And they like to do that because they like to hide the screws that you see in the cabinet. You can do that, but ultimately you're going to end up screwing in the bottom down here, or on the bottom it does have a style like this, but you can still see that screw and it can be visible. And as you're trying to screw that in, you can end up breaking the wood, and that's something that's visible. Or I prefer to do here, where you have a little bit more meat rather than up here. Now, what I mean by meat is the back construction on this. There is an added piece on the top and on the bottom, okay? And there is stuff on the sides, but you really want to hit top and bottom, that as you're screwing from the inside, this is what's going to the wall. This is a 1/4 inch panel right here. If you try screwing through this, especially with the gap here, it's going to want to pull into the wall, it's going to snap the back of the material, and it's not going to hold in the wall. You want to make sure that you hit the meat up here and you hit the meat down here. And the easiest way to do that is you lay out wherever your stud location is in here, and you pre-drill those holes so that when you go to mount this, all you got to do is just screw right through there. You're not trying to guess and you're not trying to get the screw started. So that's the basic makeup of a standard wood wall cabinet.